Hello to everybody. And well, today we're going to do something a bit different. And the idea is to improve the quality of our understanding, spoken English, writing English. This is something that you are doing in your activities on daily basis. And don't forget that you have the what we call here in Chile solemne number 2, and well, I have the dates, and but you also have the day and all the details. Now, what I would like to do is to introduce you to the rare earth and the application, which is a very, very sexy subject nowadays because all the technological advances and many applications are due to this rare earth. Well, in general terms, I can tell you that in China, they have really a substantial amount of rare earth to be exploited and to be exported. And therefore, they are very, very well standing up, as far as we can see. Here in Chile, we go from one extreme to the other. We have some tailings, which in Spanish mean relaves, and we have some rare earth, which we should know more how to analyze them, how to distinguish between the different components of the minerals, and how to make a step forward, which is something that we need urgently. I know that this kind of material is not easy to understand for two reasons, mainly the language, and secondly, the technological angles that we need to tackle. In the first place, let me say something. Once I'm going to speak first or read that in Spanish, and then we can go into English, and we will go in that way. Relave. As I said to you, for me, it's not very easy to change from Spanish to English and from English to Spanish. Either I speak Spanish or I speak English. In my case, I would rather speak English, actually. But now I'm going to make an effort, and I hope that you will appreciate what we are doing, trying to tell you what to do when you are dealing with professionals, people who publish their work, people who has a very well-known name in the, all over the world, and people who are member of the editorial journals of several countries and of a very important journals. Here, Relave, which is something very important and crucial for the understanding of what you should be doing in the future. You are young. It's not like me, actually. I'm very old when we compare with you, age. We compare with your age and so on. But it doesn't matter. What it does matter is how the way you feel, and more important than to feel is the way that you love what you are doing. Feeling and love, my dear friend, is something very, very important. If you want to do things properly. For instance, relave. What do we mean by relave? In English, relave, you have to pronounce it at trailings. Ok, relave corresponde al residuo. Mezcla de minerales molido con agua y otros compuestos que queda como resultado de haber extraído los minerales sulfurados en el proceso de flotación. Down. Este residuo, you have to raise your voice, también conocido como cola, raise the voice, es transportado mediante canaletas o cañerías hasta lugares especialmente habilitados o tranques, donde el agua es recuperada o evaporada para quedar dispuesto finalmente como un depósito estratificado de materiales finos. Entre paréntesis, nunca diga en paréntesis porque eso no existe en castellano, es entre paréntesis, arenas y limos. Now, if I had to say the same in English, I would try and would say something like this. Tailings correspond to the residue, a mixture of ground mineral and with water and other compound, which remain because of having extracted the sulfur minerals in the flotation process. This residue, also known as glue, is transported through gutters or pipes to especially enabled places or dams, where the water is recovered or evaporated to be finally disposed of as a stratified deposit of fine materials, in bracket, sand and slits. El párrafo número 2, lo leo lentamente en castellano. Dice, existen diferentes sistemas de recuperación de agua, desde relave, como por ejemplo espesadores, que es una palabra no muy utilizada, como ustedes saben, filtradores, entre otras. Toda el agua recuperada es recirculada a la planta de procesos para su reutilización. En el transcurso de extracción del mineral, de esta manera se aprovecha de mejor manera el uso de recurso hídrico, which is something very important indeed. In English, I can say, there are different systems for recovering water from tailings, such as thickeners, filters, among others. All the recovered water is recirculated to the process plant for reuse during the extraction of the material. In this way, the water resource is better used. Again, there are different systems for recovering water from tailings, such as thickeners, that's the word, thickeners, filters, among others. All the recovered water is recirculated to the process plant for reuse during the extraction of the mineral. In this way, the water resource is better used. There is, my friends, a book which it was given away to me by a very good friend of mine, a very distinguished scientist. This guy was born in Argentina, and but as far as I know, his father was from Europe, and I think his mother was from somewhere in Italy. I don't really remember exactly. His name is Paolo Kittel. He's still alive and working very hard indeed. He's about 93 or 94 years old. And, but he was the one who gave me away this book, the one which it would be wonderful if I could give you a copy of this, but I just can't. All I can do is perhaps scan this, can send all the books because it's really relevant for what you are going to do in your near future. And let me read this slowly. Atomic structure. and its consequences. The dawn of understanding. If capital I significa I mayúscula. If capital I, as is suggested by the developments outlined in chapter 1, there is an essential uniqueness in the chemistry of the lanthanide. It must, comma, as we now know, reside in the structures of their individual atoms and ions. From the extension of Niels Bohr's 1913 theory of the hydrogen atom, we know that as the complexity of the nucleus is increased as a result of the addition of protons and neutrons, each of the electrons need to preserve electron neutrality, seek out not only the least energetic, this is what it says, or the possible principal quantum level available, but also the least energetic of the several possible subsidiary levels or orbitals within the principal levels. Si yo tomo todo esto y trato de entenderlo en castellano, ¿qué es lo que me dice? Sí, como fue sugerido en el capítulo número 1, que nosotros estamos en el 2 en estos momentos. Existe una unicidad esencial en la química de los lantánidos, y esto que quiero que ustedes lo entiendan. Debe, es una obligación, it must, como nosotros sabemos, residir en la estructura de estos átomos y iones individuales. Desde la extensión o generalización de la teoría de Niels Bohr del año 1913 del átomo de hidrógeno, sabemos que la complejidad de los núcleos aumenta como resultado de la adición de protones, entre paréntesis, y neutrones. Cierre paréntesis. Cada uno de los electrones necesarios para preservar la electroneutralidad. Y después dice, seek out not only the least energetic or the possible principal quantum level. O sea, in other words, todo lo que está diciendo, que los electrones se ubican en niveles tales que son los niveles de más baja energía, donde claramente los electrones buscan su zona de confort. Eso es lo que dijimos en la primera parte. Permiso, un poquito de agua. Seguimos, señora. If, voy a leer de nuevo. I'm going to read this once again. If, as is suggested by the developments outlined in chapter 1, there is an essential uniqueness in the chemistry of the lanthanide. It must, as we know, reside in the structure of their individual atoms and ions. From modern extensions of Niels Bohr's 1913 theory of the hydrogen atom, we know that as the complexity of the nucleus is increased as a result of the addition of protons and neutrons, each of the electrons needed to preserve electron neutrality seeks out not only the least energetic of the possible principal quantum levels available, but also the least energetic of the several possible subsidiary levels or orbital within the principal level. This is what we call the electronic configuration of an atom and an ion. For instance, you have hydrogen, you write 1s1. If you move further and you go to helium, you have 1s2. Of course, you cannot confuse the 1s from hydrogen of the 1s of lithium, because we are talking about different atoms. The orbitals are not the same, and this is something that you should keep in mind. Secondly, my dear friend, if you go to, for instance, carbon atoms, carbon has or is identified with the atomic number equal to 6. So you should write 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Now, if you carry on like that, and you find the first lanthanide ion, the atomic number, my dear friends, is 58, which is a big and very, very big number. So this atomic element has 58 electrons and 58 protons. So I have to keep the electron neutrality of the atom, because this atom, the total charge is equals to 0. If I cannot pronounce properly because I have a small soft throat. And then you move to praseodymium, which is identified by Z equal to 59, which means 59 electrons and 59 protons, and so on, my dear friend. The very last one of the lanthanide is Z equal to 103, which we are talking about 103 electrons and 103 protons. So really, the kind of material we are going to work with, we are going to think of, we are going to treat in our future are very, very complex materials. And I can tell you that because you see, in my case, I came to know this lanthanide about 40 years ago. And I was amazed and a bit confused that there were many problems and many issues to be understood from the reading I was doing. And I got really involved and go into this. And I said to myself, this is something which I'm going to spend at least a new 2 or 3 decades of my life to understand this. Now, what we are talking about electronic configuration within both S or atomic orbital, P atomic orbital, D atomic orbital, and F atomic orbital at the very least. Now, you know a lot about S atomic orbitals, then we can move into P atomic orbitals. You know about that as well. I have a lot of lecture notes and so on, written by Andres and myself. And we are going to publish soon a new book, which is a result of all this lecture and his lectures. And this is something that we normally do, my dear friend. Now, I'm going to ask Andre for his permission to upload it to you in Classroom, in your website, this, let me call it the first draft of a book, which is going to be published in Amazon.com. It is very important. It is very important to understand the meaning of what we are doing. The other day, for instance, I'm talking about today's Monday. I think that this was Saturday, actually. And I was looking for a friend of mine who is Ricardo Baeza, who is a specialist, very well known all over the world, I think. It's not because he is a friend of mine. He's very good. He's very clever. And Ricardo Baeza Yates, that is his name, because there is another Ricardo Baeza, and that Ricardo Baeza, I think he's completely retired nowadays, and he lives in Talca. He's a mathematician as well. And both of them, one is Ricardo Baeza, as such, the mathematician, and the one I'm talking about is Ricardo Baeza Yates. Is Y-A-T-E-S, Yates. Ricardo Baeza Yates has done a lot, quite a lot. Application to mining, application to artificial intelligence, application to data mining, to big data, to soft computing, and so on. He has many very well advanced students. He has done quite a lot. It is quite interesting to follow what people like Ricardo and others, which are a very good friend of mine, and some of them are former student of mine, have been doing, and their achievement, and the way that they are looking at the world, which is becoming more and more complex indeed. Now it is the pandemic. Everybody blame whatever happened, whatever is wrong to the pandemic. My friend, that is very true, but up to a point. The pandemic is something really horrible, killing people and killing economy. There is nothing to say about that, apart from working very hard to get the right vaccine and to ask people to kindly to get the vaccine. We need that. That's quite true, but that is one point of the problem. And there is another point. The other point has to do with our attitude against towards life, the way we are looking at life, and with the way we want to make some progress. And this is indeed something very important. And as you know, you may say whatever you want to. You are free. You are very young. You are getting older and older, and I hope that you are getting more and more mature. You see, for instance, what I do believe is that we need to get involved with very complex processes. It doesn't matter how difficult it is. We are going to fight the battle between all of us and get to the point where we want to go. As Seila would say, we want to, after all the time they spend traveling on the ocean and doing what they had to do, in the end they want to arrive, you see, in port. And they have their family, their relatives, and so on, their friends, or whatever they have. But the human being, what the human being needs is to be able to talk to people, to be able to exchange ideas, and to be able, my dear friend, to get involved in complex problems, dealing with, in your case, for instance, dealing with engineering, because you decided to study civil engineering, major mining, and this is what you decided to do. Well, there are so many issues that I think we should try very hard indeed to make some progress in the very near future. We are going to continue with this and going to try very hard indeed to scan this. I don't have, a professional scan with me, but I can do something, at least, I hope, anyway. I will send this I can send this by WhatsApp, I think. And from there, you can do whatever you want to with this material. And well, what we are going to do afterwards I'm going to let you have a talk by someone who speak an English with a different accent altogether, a different pronunciation and intonation, because you make it use your ears, your brain to make the whole process and to understand. Of course, you are not going to understand everything. That is quite true. But the more you listen to, you will realize, my dear friends, that you are in the right position to have a conversation, a professional conversation with them, and to make a presentation. Because you see, in your life, you will have to make a lot of presentation, and to the owner of the company, to the authorities of the government. Wherever you are working, you will have to do your presentation. You are going to be asked to show and to actually tell people why do you want to carry out the project. Because the money belongs to the company, of course. And therefore you have to persuade them and to seduce and to convince them that your project is quite good. This is something very good. Now, about the recording I'm doing at the moment, is because I believe that we need to try by using different tools until we get the right one. We don't have a lab here where you can actually put your earphones. You can listen to a native English speaker. Then you may try to follow that until you improve your spoken English. And well, it's not easy. Nevertheless, it is something that we can do. For instance, my dear friend, if you can sing, please get the lyrics and try to carry on with that. Because you see, when people sing and have that talent, they can easily improve their language, their intonation and pronunciation. This is the reason why I sent you a song it's called Hallelujah by Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi is a British subject. He's quite good. His intonation and pronunciation is the right one. And the Hallelujah had the lyric in such a way that it teaches you quite a lot. And I hope that you will appreciate that what we are doing, we are trying different means and see how this is working. Well, I'm going to convert this so as to upload this to YouTube. In any case, you are more than welcome to make your criticism. But if you want to criticize me, I would like you to tell me how we can improve, but both of you and me. That is important things. I'm quite open, and I will welcome all the comments, suggestions for improvement. This is my life. This is your life. And now we are playing together. And I hope that this is going to be useful for everybody. Finally, I would like to ask you in Spanish, I'm going to do it. Por favor, contesten la encuesta docente. La institución está muy, muy preocupada por eso. Las razones que tiene la institución son las razones de ellos. Nosotros tenemos, nosotros hacemos nuestro mejor esfuerzo, pero la institución tiene sus razones. Y la encuesta que hace la institución, señores, es importante porque después le piden a la institución que haga alguien lo encuesta a la institución y esa es el Colegio de Ingenieros, en el caso de la carrera de Ingeniería Civil de Minas, y a la institución que es la CNA, la Convención Nacional de Acreditación. De modo que todo esto son una suerte de KPI. Y yo les ruego, por favor, yo sé que algunos tienen 4, 5, 6 ramos. Hay alumnos que se han hecho bien amigos míos, me llaman y tienen 8 ramos, entonces contestar 8 encuestas los desespera. Pero por favor, haga el esfuerzo. Se lo agradezco mucho. Bueno, nos vamos a ver a las 2:30. En estos momentos son 25 para las 2. Hasta luego.